Let's run it back to 1989 and the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already, why don't you hit that subscribe button. Originally released in 1989, the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red, worn on the feet of Michael Jordan during the 1989-1990 season. The Air Jordan 4 originally released in 4 different colorways, and the Fire Red was the third and the last to be seen on the feet of Michael Jordan before wearing the Air Jordan 5 halfway through the 1990 season. Back in 1989, the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red did not have any advertisements in the pages of Sports Illustrated, nor did you see commercials with Spike Lee and Michael promoting the Fire Red. We just saw the Fire Red on the feet of Michael Jordan wearing it in games, and when we first saw it at Foot Locker or on your friends who just bought the new model of the Air Jordan in 1989/1990. So to start the story off, in 1989 is the first moment I knew that I was going to be a sneakerhead, and it was because of this shoe. When I first saw it, there was a kid in my school. He was in grade 5 and I was in grade 4, and he was wearing the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red on his feet. The kid was actually wearing the grade school pair. So he was wearing this exact model from 1989 with the back heel tab leather with the pull strap, the plastic wings. The Air Jordan hang tag was not on the shoe when the kid was wearing it, and that awesome Air Jordan Flight logo on the tongue. So this is the first time I ever saw the Air Jordan in real life, besides seeing it on the feet of Michael Jordan back in 1989. Instantly, I wanted this shoe. I asked the kid, I said, hey, where did you get those shoes? He says, my mom brought them home, and I think she bought them from Foot Locker. So I ran home after school, and I told my mom, I just saw the most amazing pair of shoes that I've ever seen. Mom says, well, we can go to the mall and go see if they're available, and we'll go check and see. At the time, I was wearing the Nike Outbreak, I think they're called, and that kid was wearing the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red, and instantly I wanted them. I wanted those shoes. So my mom and I and my brother, we ended up going down to Square One Mall in Toronto, and we ended up finding a pair in Foot Locker. And Mom picked up the shoe, and I was so excited. I'm going to get these shoes. And my mom looked at the price and put it back down and said, nope, you're not getting these shoes. They're way too expensive. And I was heartbroken at the time. But my mom said, you could pick any other shoe that's a cheaper price. On the wall in the same section was the Nike Tech Challenge 2. And if you look at the design, and at the time I was a kid and did not know it was designed by the same person, but when you look at the shoe, it had everything I wanted that this shoe had. It had the visible airbag, it had the plastic wings on the side, it had Nike Air on the heel. So I was okay for a consolation prize for this one, and I think my mom paid about $60 for these, and these I think were $100 at the time, or $89 or something like that. So my mom bought me these, and I've shown in my Instagram of me wearing these throughout 1990 and into 1991. This is my favorite shoe of all time in its original glory. Since that day, I always wanted Air Jordan, and I wanted this pair. But in 1991, my birthday came up, and I finally got my very first pair of Air Jordans, which was the Air Jordan 6 Infrared. To continue the story with the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red, in the back of my mind, always, since I got those first Air Jordans I ever owned, always thought, I always want those Fire Red. Those ones that kid was wearing in grade 5, I always wanted them. I held on to my Agassiz for the longest time and wore them because they felt very similar to those Air Jordan 4s. And I wanted them. So in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, I need these shoes. I switched over to schools in 1990-91 and ended up hanging out with a good friend of mine named Cameron Mackey. And to kind of up the ante on me wanting these Fire Red Air Jordan 4s, he had this Michael Jordan t-shirt, which I actually finally found on eBay in my size for a good price that was wearable and brand new, never worn. And thanks to Cameron, this shirt and these shoes kept my love for the Air Jordan Fire Red going all these years. So this shirt and these shoes really started the whole love affair with sneakers. So when I started working and making my own money back in 96, We heard about this little place called eBay that opened up. And the first thing I looked for on eBay was if they sold Air Jordans. And I noticed they sold used Air Jordans, like ones from the past. So I was in awe. First thing I searched on eBay was Air Jordan 4 Fire Red 1989. And up popped up on eBay the original pair that I have in my hand, the 1989 Air Jordan 4 Fire Red in all its glory. Nike Air on the heel, the Flight logo nice and low. At this time, there was no retros coming out in 1996, besides those Air Jordan 1, 2, and 3, but we didn't have an Air Jordan 4. So when I bought these in 1996, the midsole was still intact. They were wearable. I wore them around the house a little bit. I never wore them out on the street because this was the shoe that I always wanted. And I got it in its original form from 1989. So I've had this in my collection since 1996. And I was pumped because this is the shoe that I always wanted as a kid and finally got it as an adult. I finally bought this shoe. So me being obsessed with the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red, I eventually found a pair. Luckily here in Winnipeg, a friend of mine actually had these in his basement. Used to be his pair. This one is a size, I believe it's a size 2. I can't really see the size tag, but I believe it's a size 2. And this was the actual shoe version, the kid's version that kid way back in 1990 had on his feet. I was pumped when he showed me that he had these. Brought them to work. I said, I'll give you whatever you want for them. He said, give me $10. They're all beat up and old. I was like, perfect. When I got them, the midsoles were intact still. Shape is perfect. Nike Air on the heel. The hang tang I just put on just for the show. And to complete the set, I actually found the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red in infant on the shelves at your local thrift shop. I literally yelled in the store and everybody's looking at me. And I look at the price and it was 99 cents. And it has the Nike on the heel. It has almost the Air Jordan 3 bottom. The mesh on the side. It was cracking at the time too when I picked them up. Look at that Flight logo right there. Awesome. So I have the complete family set. Reason being, it is my favorite shoe of all time. Now why I'm wearing this beat up Chicago Bulls hat is because this is the hat that I wore from 1989 all the way through to 1991. Or maybe 1990. I can't remember when this actual hat released, but I wore it during that era of wanting the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red. And luckily, I went on a trip with my parents in 1990, and I got it signed in Chicago. They had a 3-on-3 competition called Shoot the Bull. They didn't have Hoop It Up, I don't think, at this time, but it was called Shoot the Bull 3-on-3. And I ended up getting the hat autographed by Craig Hodges of the Chicago Bulls, number 14. Look him up. He's one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time for Chicago. Now, the retros did release over the years. The ones with the Jumpman on the heel. I was pretty pumped the retros did come out, but that Jumpman on the heel just ruined it for me. It didn't have the same effect as it did in 1989. The last release we got in 2020 wasn't bad. The shape is far from perfect, but we did get the Nike Air on the heel. We did get the Air Jordan upside down tag behind the tongue. We did get the Flight logo on the tongue. We did get the mesh that's not attached to the black. We did get the mesh in the right angle. We did get the plastic everything. We did get a visible air bubble that's not red and it is white. So, you know what? It isn't perfect, but it is the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red that I can wear. Now, the only thing I don't like is I think they should have made it off-white because I swear these were, when I was a kid, the Durabuck was not really completely white. It did have a slight yellow tinge, but it could be just my memory from when I bought these old. If you ever feel a pair of Durabuck Air Jordan 4s from 1989, it is so different the way they're constructed and the material used compared to this one. Like, if you look at this shape of this shoe and you look at this shape, like it's a night and day difference. But all in all, it is an Air Jordan 4 and it is the Fire Red. So I wear these consistently. And I will wear this with this brand new shirt that I just got. One of the greatest shoes of all time, in my opinion. And it's the one that started it all with my crazy collection, the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red. What do you guys all think about the Air Jordan 4 Fire Red? Is it one of your favorites? Is it your favorite of all time? Is it the one that started your crazy collection? For me, it's the one that really brings back a lot of memories. especially the years 1989 to 1991. Big shout out to Cameron Mackey. Big shout out to people that I used to go to school with back in Toronto, Ontario. If you guys remember, those were some good times. If you have any stories of your own, please put them down below in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Because for me, I collect sneakers because they bring me memories. I collect a lot of, I don't collect any newer models, but anything they bring back of retro versions, I collect them because it brings back good memories and the great moments I had wearing those sneakers or wanting those sneakers. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to like the video. And until next time, peace.